So yeah, excited to be here this morning. I think I've had a chance to meet a lot of you folks the last few days at my booth, and so a lot of what I'm going to talk about actually plays, kind of right hand in hand with what Carrie was talking about with fleet safety, maintenance. Again, I'm Brandon Jobak. I've been with ATS Fleet Service for about 3 months, but I've been in the commercial. I was with Bridgestone many years, so very familiar with fleets of vehicles of one or two to hundreds of trucks running around the country. So, and what my objective today is really just to give you guys some real world takeaways that related to tire wear and things that you guys can do to just implement on a daily basis to try to save some money. So, just kind of jump in. So real quick, a little bit. It's pretty small writing there, but a little bit about Alma. We started in business about 1954, and actually in Mount Pleasant, but then we moved a few years later down the road to Alma, which is where we're at now. And so we've been in business for over 70 years, family owned, very proud of that. Fourth generation is now running the business. So we're in a position where we're really in a growth mode now. So had about 4 locations over the last many years, and then just recently made an acquisition to double our size. So we have three divisions within our company. I'm with ATS, as I said. That's our largest division. It's our commercial division, which is commercial tires, farm tires, OTR, you name it. We do all that. Then we also have Modern Mechanics, which is our smaller 3 retail locations in the central part of the state. And then Alma Tire Distribution, which is our retread plant down the road in Alma, and our warehousing division. So we do all kinds of services, car and light truck, commercial. The big thing that we've talked a lot about the last few days with some of the group has been our mobile services. We do mobile tire. We also do mobile mechanical. So I know you guys are a lot of you folks, maybe you're driving daily. Maintenance is important, but it's hard to kind of do on a daily basis. So, we're really we try to be a partner with our customers and try to kind of get ahead of any of those issues and, try to help you guys out. So, and real quick, so, we're excited about our new footprint, 9 locations all the way up from Traverse City down through Gaylord, Mount Pleasant, Alma, Saginaw, Flint, Detroit, Grand Rapids, Lake Odessa. So very excited to be able to offer services throughout the state now. So kind of getting into the nitty gritty, factors affecting tire life. So when I found out I was asked to do this, I reached out to one of my Bridgestone engineer friends who luckily had some good content, but as you know, with engineers, I had to kind of clean it up and cut it down a little bit. So, and hopefully I'm not as dry as an engineer, but very smart though. So what are the things that we can control on a daily basis within our vehicles and our fleet maintenance? Here's a long list of things that we can control. Some we can control more than others, but the big thing I'm going to talk about today is inflation pressure. Alignments, brake system, you can go down the whole list, right? I mean, it's a very long list of things that are very controllable in a daily basis. Tire maintenance, tire storage. So some of these things I'm going to dive into a little bit more. So inflation pressure, inflation is really the single most crucial part of your tire maintenance, and it's the most controllable, really. I see it all the time. I mean, you really just, you're very busy and you just jump in the vehicles and you go. But I mean, we really try to work with our customers and make sure that they have a air gauge. Even a tread depth gauge, but even an air gauge. I mean, just to try to stick those tires and see where they're at before they roll out for the day. And then again, I know it's hard, with the drivers being very busy. But inflation is crucial, right? Because it's the tire doesn't carry the load. It's actually the air that carries it. So not a lot of folks realize that. So again, that just shows you how important the air is. And then what you're seeing up here is kind of a nice visual of what tire footprints look like when they're underinflated, overinflated. You know, you can start seeing even overinflation causes issues, right? And then the middle is really where the correct footprint, you know, from really doing a lot of testing and from an engineering perspective from Bridgestone, that's what, you know, just good visual to see the differences. But overinflation and underinflation affect the tire footprint. And really, again, it changes the overall footprint. It changes the rate of wear for you. It can cause irregular wear and traction and braking, right? So then diving a little bit more into this is a visual of what underinflation looks like. As you can see on the right, you know, it kind of squats down, especially if you get a lot of you guys are running heavy. You know, that's going to cause a lot of excess heat when you have a lot more weight, and then it creates a lot of flexing, right? And that when you're flexing that tire, the sidewall, it's just asking for issues, right? It's going to eventually cause a blowout. And that's going to obviously be road calls and downtime. So, but tire components with excessive heat, they build up and they deteriorate that casing. So definitely underinflation again is over is bad, but under is even worse. So, and then a little bit more, you know, again, I'm a very visual type person. So, you know, you can see obviously the correct on the left, and then the overinflated. You know, so you're obviously it's gonna kind of looks like it's a little bit of a taller tire when it's overinflated. But the big thing with overinflation is you're gonna see is more impact breaks and punctures. We see that a lot on the actual waste. You know, guys that are pulling in landfills and all that. I mean, they're already you guys probably know they're picking up everything, but you know, they deal with, you know, both these scenarios, over and under. So. And that's obviously very controllable. So then, you know, the second thing that we look at that we all know about is alignments. It seems very simple, but I think the alignments, I think it, even not tire related, but I think it almost goes into oil changes, right? You know, you know it's coming up, or you know it's needed, but alignment, you know, it's something very controllable. Because as you know, that's going to affect, you know, after inflation, it's going to affect your tire wear. So, you know, the definition of an alignment, the process whereby the vehicle and all the tires are traveling in the same direction. And again, it plays a significant role in tire wear, you know, your vehicle handling, component life, and some of the terms, you know, you hear that, and alignment is caster, camber, toe, stuff like that. So this is actually an interesting slide. You know, as I was reviewing it, I had known this, but it's always good to review it. But the total vehicle alignment involves all vehicle axles. So obviously this, you know, is going to be a 3-axle tractor, but the number one axle that actually needs to be aligned is the drive tires, which, you know, most folks think that it's the steer tires, right? So. But actually in this example, you're looking at drives and then your trailers and then your steers. But I have seen over the years where we've gotten some very unusual drive tire or regular wear on, you know, cross axles. And I would get an engineer out, and more times than not, it was actually the drive axle alignments were out. So, and that's controllable as well. And then our drivers, I mean, we need them, right? So we love them. Well, maybe not all the time, right? But so, you know, abuse on tires, you know, I mean, we try to train the drivers as much as we can to be proactive, you know, just if you can get them to do visuals, right, before they leave the yard or shop, you know, it can be helpful, right? So they're preventing you know, a road call. You know, but we know, you know, there's a lot of things that the drivers do that affect the tire wear, right? I mean, that's braking, you know, if you have trailers, you know, trailer braking, excessive speed, running over curbs, you know. You got guys that are running over curbs a lot, and then, you know, you have high inflation, you know, you're going to see a rash of tire breakdowns, right? And then obviously, depending on the weather, you're going to have potential, spinning and ice and snow and stuff like that. But, some of these are controllable and, some of them are unfortunately not. So, but again, just some good factors to think about. Loads, I think most everybody in the room, probably knows what they're hauling. But, in a lot of different scenarios and different fleets, they're paid to haul. So, sometimes they can't control their loads, which is unfortunate because, we see fleets that might run heavy one way and then come back empty, which that causes a whole different type of factor of inflation and also irregular wear issues. Because you're adjusting inflation for when you're loaded and not. So another factor to think about. So another thing that isn't talked about as much in the tire maintenance is lateral and radial runout. So what that really is kind of big words, but it just basically means the mounting of tires and wheels, right, on the assembly. So lateral is a wheel wobble, and a radial is an out-of-round tire. And if you break that down more, it's, what's causing those is the tire, the wheel, and that's caused by a mismount. So this is really where it's something that you can control is you want to partner with a very, certified tire vendor. Our techs have been TIA trained and they know how to mount tires properly. Because what happens is if you don't mount or lube a tire up right, if it doesn't seat on the bead right, that could potentially cause a wobble or more or less an out of round. So then you talk about having drivers complaining because then the ride's going to be terrible, but then also your investment in your steer tires are not going to last. And then even after you've mounted the tire right, if you put the wheel assembly back on the hub, those lug nuts have to be, and the hub have to be seated right. So there are some things that are definitely in everyone's control, but they're important to think about, or at least put in the back of your mind when next time you're buying those tires. Are these things being looked at and being taken care of? Because it'll become your problem if not. So, and then I talked to a lot of folks in the last couple of days about retreading. We're a Band-Aid retreader, having a very nice big plant down the road. Great way to save money. Pretty much, if you're running multi-axle drives or, trailers, it's a great way to, reuse your casings, saves you money, but also helps environmentally keeps those out of the landfills. But, a good retreading program, you have to have a good partner, right? A trusted partner that's going to look at these casings and make sure that they're worth retreading, and you don't want anything to come back to you that's going to blow out. So good relationships with the retread supplier, making sure the repairs are done correctly. Obviously, just like any manufacturing, because it's a real manufacturing, we're building these tires in-house. So you got to look at, keep an eye out for poor retreading. Those are going to cost you, less run out, but also more downtime if you have, blowout issues. And this is just kind of a photo of some different qualities of retreading, kind of repairs and stuff like that you see. So, on the right there's some pretty big section repairs there. You might see that in, maybe a waste tire that goes into landfills. Those, I don't know if you guys see that, but we see, like, in the waste, we do a lot of waste tires, but when it rains, it seems, especially when you go into a landfill, it seems like every nail comes out, with that, just with the rain and everything, like, kind of comes to surface. Just strange, but our guys get really busy around rain days with the waste companies because we got to do a lot of flat repairs. But anyways, so yeah, just some different visuals of kind of what we see when we're looking at retreads and repairing them for customers. And then, road hazards, you can avoid some road hazards, but pretty much not most of them you can't, and obviously the drivers can as well. So, but this kind of goes back into being proactive and reporting something that you might see out on the truck or the tire. So there's not a lot of maintenance you can do to prevent road hazards, but if you do a routine inspection, that's a visual of a tear on a casing, sidewall, and those are steel belts. So if that's not reported, what happens is two things happen. You get excessive heat, potentially, which will wear that down, but also if water and rain gets into that, it's just like any steel, it will rust, and that will cause a failure, because you have the flex of any kind of steel. Eventually, over time, it will let loose. So again, I mean, that might not let loose right now, but if you guys catch that, again, it's going to save yourself some downtime. So this is the infamous impact brake. So overinflation is, I keep saying that a lot, but overinflation, it has a tendency to increase these types of scenarios on the road. So, but we do see a lot of, even without overinflation. I mean, just something that maybe on a lot of trailers, if they're hitting potholes or anything, curbs. It's just part of the nature of the beast. Depending on what, where you're traveling. So, and then obviously road surfaces. Those, depending on where you have to travel. I mean, those you can't control. If your tires are inflated and you're looking pretty good, I mean, then you might not be quite as worried about the surfaces. But I think that what needs to go on this too is on off highway, right? I mean, if you guys are, you have to have the right tires to go on and off the highway, and but also give you good mileage and such. So, but yeah, surfaces are a hard one, but we all have to deal with them. Speed. Speed kills. But increased speed changes the tire footprint. This is some basic knowledge, but again, I think just some things that are good to look at and consider when you're just daily operations, right? So this is a good example. You can really see over doing testing with engineers. The leading edge at 55. I mean, you have your most ideal footprint at that speed. We know that drivers want to go faster, right? So I mean, a lot of fleets have regulators set at 65, but you can see, as you start getting up to 75, you're losing that footprint. And I mean, let's think about safety at first, right? I mean, it just amazes me that people don't realize how important tires are to the vehicle. I mean, they're what's keeping you on the ground, right? So, but you obviously have a safety factor because your stopping distance is going to be a lot less, but also your wear, right? Your investment in the tires. So just something to think about from again, different perspective. If you can kind of keep that speed, more in an ideal situation, everyone's going to be better. So tire maintenance, what's included? To kind of summarize what we're kind of talking, mounting, dismounting, right? I mean, those are all important factors. Like I said, you need to have, if you're doing it yourself, then just make sure. Obviously, those are they're getting lubed and seated correctly. That's you're just going to be behind the eight ball if not. Inflation, matching the tires. You definitely don't want to put a high 30-second tread next to short. It's going to cause issues for you. And then repairing, right? Making sure your nail holes are being repaired properly, and retreading as well. So, and if anybody's interested, OSHA has some literature online that you can purchase to follow some of those instructions, or partner with somebody like us, and we could mount the tires for you. So another area that we see sometimes, I know it's hard. Tire storage is hard because some folks keep some inventory around just to do quick changes. If you have room in the shop or the garage, you really want to keep those tires protected from the elements, right? They're made of, I mean, tires have natural rubber and oil in them, right? I mean, that's the big percentage of what makes up of them, plus the steel and all that. So, if you're leaving them outside in the rain and the snow, those will ozone and weather crack. And again, you're just not going to get the longevity out of the wear that you would want out of the tires, right? So, yeah, again, simple thing that, you can hopefully avoid and get your better investment. So vehicle configuration. So the way I look at this is when you buy a new truck, you hope that the dealer and the OEM would put the right tire on for your application, but I don't know. I laugh because that usually doesn't happen. The OEM has their own agenda on what tires they want to move volume on, right? So you would think that you get a nice, deep drive tire on your truck, but sometimes that doesn't happen. So hopefully, from a configuration, from an OEM perspective, speccing the truck right, you have the power to make sure that when you're speccing your vehicles, to ask for the right tires, right? And if you need help with that, you want to trust a partner, right? I mean, we can help you with those types of things. I've had a lot of discussions with OEMs through Bridgestone that, if you're not asking the questions, then you're potentially not going to get what you need. So just ask the right questions. So, and as you guys know, better tire to fit the better application, better traction and all the things that go with that. So, and then vehicle maintenance overall, to kind of recap: brake, suspension, alignment, balance, run out. These are all key factors that, play into the tire and vehicle maintenance, and these are controllable. So just to recap, how we really look at partnerships, right, with our customers. I mean, we try to take more of a consultative approach, and I have, like I said, I've talked to a lot of you folks the last few days, and we're available. I mean, if you have any kind of types of questions on any of the tire maintenance or vehicle, we're all over the state. We love to have an opportunity to talk with you. We handle all types of tires. If some of you guys have backhoes or skid steers, we do all that stuff too. And we do mobile. So, if you can't get that truck up somewhere to a shop, we can come to you. And then we really pride ourselves in customizing and offering for what your business is and your needs are. So, bless you. So we're here to help. And that's it. So I appreciate the time. So if anybody has any questions, I'll be kind of hanging for a few minutes on the side. But again, appreciate the time and have a great afternoon.